Hello, and welcome to another session of virtual gentle chair yoga with Keith Beasley. My name is Bati Blumenthal. I'm the branch supervisor of the Putterham location of the Public Library of Brookline. Virtual gentle chair yoga with Keith Beasley is sponsored by the Friends of the Brookline Public Library, who sponsor this program and programs like it. As always, participation in this online yoga program could result in injury. Not all exercises presented here are suitable for everyone. These exercises are not intended to substitute for proper medical care or advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any exercise program. The creators, teachers, and producers assume no responsibility for injuries from participation in this program. And with that, I give you Keith.
Thank you, Bhatia. I wanted to begin by reading a poem. So this is a poet I really like. Her name is Mary Oliver. And I picked this one because I thought in yoga, sometimes we talk about setting an intention, which means that we sort of think about what we're doing, about the practice, about the specific things in the practice that we're doing, and how does that really relate to the rest of our life? And there's no one answer. Everybody's different. So think about maybe an intention for our practice today, even if it's just as simple as being more aware of our breath, and perhaps you carry that with you for the rest of the day or portions of the day, because we don't always remember. Even practicing a lot of intention regularly, we don't remember the intention all day. At least I don't. So, but I wanted to read. This is called "When I Am Among the Trees." So please just go ahead and sit down and breathe diaphragmatically and kind of settle into good posture, good breath. Feel connected with the earth. When I am among the trees, when I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, especially the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me, the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches. And they call again. It's simple, they say. You too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light and to shine. To be filled with light and to shine. So let's start by sitting up nice and tall and doing a few sun breaths, bringing the palms together in front of the heart and then circling the hands around. So the circling, the size of the circles fits our shoulders, how our shoulders feel today. There's a lifting of the heart forward and up slightly as we breathe in. Maybe even the chin lifts a little. And then as the hands come down, the heart moves back, the chest flattens a little bit. And we keep going around in a circle like that. As you breathe in and lift the heart, think about extending the spine up from the sitting bones, even from the feet. Start down at the feet, gently press the feet into the floor to help lift the body, and then lifting up through the legs, the sitting bones press down, and the spine lifts up. So each time we inhale, there's this lifting from the feet all the way up through the crown of the head, even up through the arms and the fingertips. Perhaps a lightness. Think of it feeling a little lighter. And we're going to bring the palms together right in front of the heart. And then go ahead and press the hands very gently together. See if you can line them up so they're nice and even like this, with the tips of the thumbs touching the sternum. right in the center of the chest where the heart is. And pause there for a moment. And if the palms don't come together all the way, it's okay. Mine do not. So, and I'm not forcing, I'm just gently pressing the hands. So there is a little bit of effort from the arms and the shoulders, but not a lot. It's a gentle pressing, but I am extending the spine up and breathing. And let's go the other way now. We exhale, we release the hands down, they float down like leaves on a breeze. And then we flip the palms up, inhale and come up. So I'm going around in a circle like that. And if you had your block or your box of tissues or anything soft that's not too heavy, you can put it between the thighs, right in the middle of the thighs. So the meaty part of the thighs to engage the inner thighs just a little bit as the arms circle around. So we can get a little bit with it, holding something between the legs, we can get a little bit more engagement, connection of the legs and the feet with the earth to help lift us up. So we're inhaling, maybe even giving a sigh as we exhale. Notice how the hips rock a little bit back and forth on the sitting bones as the arms rise up and float down. So we get a little pelvic tilting happening in the hips. We get a little heart opening with the chest, and we get a little lifting, floating up of the chin as we breathe in. And let's bring the palms back to the center. Pause there for a minute. Press the hands gently together. And then go ahead and lift the hands up again, right in front of the face. Place them even on each other again like this. And then as the hands come down, gently press them together. So the pressing is gentle. So we're going to make some, almost like a, not exactly a circle, but I'm going to bring the hands up, bring them together, and then gently press them as they float down. Keeping the shoulders relaxed here. Don't go so high if the shoulders are getting tense or rising up too much. It's a good way to check how we're, that connection that we have between the shoulders and the neck. It's a really important connection, especially if you ever get a headache. A lot of times the tension, it can come from the neck, it can come from the shoulders, even the upper back muscles. And so if we can keep the shoulders relaxed, sometimes that helps relieve tension in the neck. And then one more time, bring the hands together, gently press, and let the hands float down. Then go ahead and bring the hands down and inhale and bring the hands back as you inhale. So sometimes we do, we put the hands on the knees and we lift the heart forward as we inhale so that the chest is moving forward and back. This time we're going to bring the hands out to the side like we're hitchhiking. Imagine you're hitchhiking and you can't decide which way to go. So you're going to go in both directions. But notice how that when we hitchhike like this, the arm rolls out in the shoulder. So we get an external rotation in that shoulder joint. And that actually helps to open the chest a little bit more. It makes it easier to open the chest. So we inhale and exhale. Really relax the shoulders down, relax the arms down. Inhale and exhale. The spine is lifting up. The feet are pressing down as we inhale. Perhaps the chin lifts up a little bit. So there's a small movement going on with this opening across the chest. Arms are rolling out. And then come back and let's roll the shoulders one at a time. Just like we're swimming. Actually, let's do that. Let's swim. So this is a nice way to begin to work the core of the body with some gentle turning. As I move my shoulder, as I'm swimming, as I'm moving my arm back, I'm letting the rest of my body follow it a little bit. So there's a turning that's happening in the belly. If you look at my hands like this, if I put my hands and they don't move, but notice how the belly is moving. That's what we want. So if you have trouble feeling the belly moving, put your hands there. And then just think about moving the shoulder back and the shoulder back and the shoulder back and the shoulder back. And then try the swimming again. Keep that same feeling of movement across the belly and move the shoulder back, this time with the arm moving back slightly too. And we want to make it so that the shoulder feels okay when we do this. We want the shoulder to be stable. So if you feel like the shoulder or the arm, it doesn't stay well in the socket, work with just this, moving the shoulder back like this. You still get that movement across here like this. Or you could even just move the elbows back. If you don't want to lift the arms up at all, you can keep the arms near the sides, move the elbows back. Notice that I'm getting good turning in the belly too for this one. So you really have a lot of choices from here to here. Notice how the arms are getting lower, and then finally down here. You could even put the hands down here if you wanted. We sometimes do the this turning. Let's try that. Let's try a little turning like you would do in a Tai Chi class. So it's a slow movement back and forth. And if you wanted to, if you're so inclined, you could stand up and do it. You could stand up and go back and forth. But keep doing that for a moment. I'm just going to adjust the shade here because it looks like it's getting kind of a little too sunny. Or you get a, oh, that's better. This is a great movement to do. If you can remember to do it regularly throughout the day, keeping the knees relaxed and just swinging the arms. And of course, if there's any concern about balance, do it in front of something or have something in front of you when you do it. So even the chair here, if I need to, I can just rest my hands on the chair. I could move one arm like this and then do the other arm. Or I could even maybe slide the hands like this. Notice I'm still getting movement across the belly, and you can't see it because of the chair, but my knees are soft. And you could even, if you don't want to stand, feel free to do it seated. Keeping the weight is moving from one side to the other. So you might feel it in the feet and the sitting bones. A little bit of weight shifting. And now let's all, we're going to, from a sitting position, we're going to circle around with the shoulders. So starting with the hands on the knees, that's our first position for this. Keeping the spine lifted. And so as you lean back, remember, as you lean back, we're not curling the back. The back is still lifted. And as I come forward, the back is still lifted, or I should say the chest is lifted like this. So I'm looking out across the room the whole time. And let's go the other way. If you want to make it more challenging, of course, you can, the hands can be moving like this, like we're stirring something. The hands can be stirring bigger. You could even lift the feet up if you wanted. This is following more the weight moving underneath us. So as I lean to this side, there's going to be more weight on this leg and this buttock. And as I come forward, the weight shifts more into the feet, less into the buttocks. And then to this side, I could lift this foot up. And then as I lean back, I could even lift both feet maybe. We still want to maintain the length in the spine. So if you're collapsing, if you can't keep the chest lifted when you lift the feet up, then go back somewhere, go back to a place where you can still keep the spine lifted, and keep practicing. Keep practicing over time, and it should build strength and make it easier. And by the way, it's not better to do this. It's better to be where you're at. It actually is a better experience. It's better for our bodies. It's less wear and tear. Sitting up nice and tall, some cactus breaths, inhaling and exhaling. It's so important that when we move our bodies, that we have good control over the muscles and good stability in the joints from that control. When we have stability in the joints, there's less wear and tear on the joints. And the muscles are doing their job, which is to keep the joint stable and support the joint. If the muscles become weak, the joints, there's more rubbing in the joint. And that can lead to wear and tear over time and ultimately arthritis. So sitting up tall, taking a couple breaths, perhaps closing the eyes for a moment. And then begin to lean to one side and then the other side. So we're going to get a little bit more, build a little bit more heat. The same thing with as if we were walking like this. So you're welcome to, if you wanted to stand and march, you could do that as well. So you can either march seated like this, or you can stand and march. Starting off with just a little lifting, and then a little more lifting. And then if you want, you could work on going slower to really engaging the core muscles, keeping the spine lifted at the same time. So this is seated, and if I wanted to do it standing, same thing. Of course, balance is definitely harder standing, so be mindful of that. And if you need a chair, have your chair handy, even have it right in front. And that way, if you need a little help, you can rest your hand there, or two hands, or even just a finger. Sometimes we don't need much help. And then if you want to slow it down, you can go a little bit slower, and that becomes more challenging, that movement back and forth. And then let's swing the hands again. Swing. So go back to that swinging that we did before, keeping the knee as soft. And let's do all the joints in the body. Very important, especially in the winter time. It's a nice day today. It's still cool, but it's still good to do the joints in the body every day if you can. Even it only takes about 5 minutes. So the heels are lifting, the toes are lifting. The feet are like rocking chairs, the bottom of a rocking chair, rocking back and forth on the floor. I'm still keeping my spine lifted. My heart is lifted. My shoulders are relaxed. Concentrate on the contraction alternating between the calf and the muscles along the front, along the shin. See if you can feel that change, that going slowly helps. See if you can feel the contraction in the calf, and then as that goes in the other direction, the contraction along the shin, and the release of the calf. So when the muscle group on one side works, the other one actually, there's an automatic response in the body that relaxes the opposite side. And that keeps the two groups from fighting each other. If they both contracted at the same time, we wouldn't move very well. So our body's made so that when one side's working, the antagonistic muscles, they call them, release. And that's just anatomy, human anatomy. So, which is good. Sometimes things actually work like they're supposed to, or work so that it helps us. And then I'm going to lift up one foot and then the other. Pressing the heel away here. Pressing the heel away. So as you begin to lift the feet up, think about extending the spine up too, with a little bit of effort. So finding an equilibrium here with this back and forth of lifting the feet and keeping the spine lifted at the same time. So don't expend so much energy that that you don't have any balance of ease and effort. See if you can find a little bit of ease with this effort. So I'm kind of taking it easy. I'm not worried about how high I'm lifting the feet, but I'm engaging the quadriceps. You can feel them under the hands. And I'm engaging the core muscles and the back muscles, and even the chest is lifting. Go back and forth like this. And let's bring your feet down for a second. Let's do this with doing the breath. And if you want, you can also add an arm to it at the same time. So focusing in and making this more like a meditative movement. So inhaling and exhaling. So remember that the movement follows the breath. So if we start to breathe a little slower, the movement becomes slower. If we breathe a little faster, the movement's going to become faster. So adding the arm makes it a little bit more challenging. Adding two arms makes it even more challenging. So you could try that. And to warm up as you're doing the movement, maybe the elbows are bent a little. And as you get a little bit more, as things start to move more freely, perhaps the arms straighten a little more. The elbows come closer together. So it's more like straight up and down. You could even, if you wanted, pause for a moment. Remember to take that breath and exhale. We're not holding the breath, but we're pausing for a breath. So inhaling, and then inhaling in place, and then the other side. So you have choices here about how many appendages you lift, and also about whether or not you're holding the movement or you're flowing more with the movement, and pick which one works for you today. So that's an important, it's important to think about that, and you can bring the hands down for a moment. So when you're doing your practice today, think about what really fits me best. Is it slower or faster? Is it more whole movements with the body, or is it more isolated movements with, say, just the leg lifting up, one leg, maybe more effort in the leg with the extending the heel away, really engaging the quadricep more? Or am I better off with adding an arm to it and getting the whole body moving at the same time? So that's where we have to use our own our experience and how we feel. We have to really tune in with how's our body feeling. And that's the way we take care of it. So sitting up nice and tall, a few cactus breaths. Inhale, exhale. And for this one, I'm sitting back in my chair all the way, and I'm using the back of my chair. I'm leaning back ever so slightly to help open the chest. I'll show you sideways. It's a nice way to relax. I feel supported, but at the same time, I feel like my chest is opening. It is important to have support. So if your chair is if it's too low or you're falling back over the chair, then it's probably not going to work for you today. But this chair has good support all the way up the back, so that when I lean back, it's almost like a like the lazy boy chair. That I don't know if anybody has those anymore, but they were very popular. They're very comfortable. And sitting up nice and tall. And let's see. So we were doing the joints. Let's go and do the arms and the hands. So starting with the fingers, opening and closing the palms. So one of the things you could play with, I'll get a little closer so you can see, is a little like make the fingers a little bit punchy when they open. And I'm not opening the hands in a strenuous way, like I'm sort of just letting them pop open and then relaxing, pop and relax. And in the beginning, they might only pop a little. But it's important to relax the hands. So I do this movement and then make sure that there's relaxation that accompanies it. That's that same idea of balancing ease and effort. We have our effort, and then we need to release and have our ease. And that gives the hands a chance to work and then relax, and then adding the wrists to it. Perhaps slowing the wrists down a little bit. Keeping the shoulders relaxed. Maybe closing the eyes. And now rely on the feeling of the hands, or the feeling of the wrists moving. The palms are soft, the fingers are relaxed. Let's go the other way. Spine is extending up, but the rest of the body's relaxing. The ankles are relaxed, the feet are relaxed, the toes. And the hands are still going around, and they're still relaxed. And then let's give them a little shake, like you're just washed your hands, and there's no paper towel or no towel, and there's no dryer. Resting the hands and flipping them over, and then touching the shoulders. So the elbows are right in, if I was to put my hand here, it would fold over, my elbow would fold over my hand like this. So touching the shoulder, and then I'm going to start to lift my elbows up a little bit each time. So finally the hands are starting to go up towards the ceiling. And then they're going to start to go back down again. Only go so high as the shoulders feel okay. So they're slowly going back down until finally they start to touch the knees again. And sitting up tall, roll the shoulders a couple of times. Let's do the neck, chin up, and then down. So the chin is going to rise and fall with the breath. Inhaling up. Really relaxing the back of the neck here. Keeping the spine lengthened and allowing the throat to be soft. So we want to try to keep the muscles here on the front of the throat relaxed. The jaw and the tongue are relaxed. The face and eyes are relaxed. And sitting up tall and tipping the head. Try not to lean too much as you tip the head. This helps to isolate just the side of the neck more, and then allow the body to tip a little bit with the neck. So now we're getting a little bit of lateral bending in the spine along with the neck. So they're working together. Notice how it feels a little different than just the neck. But it still feels like there's some ease. So it doesn't matter whether I was just doing the neck or I'm doing more of a whole body bending to the side. I still want to have that feeling of ease. If you lose that feeling, then back up. Go back to what you were doing before, and let's turn the head from side to side. Turning the head without forcing the head to turn. So there's an ease of turning, an ease from going from side to side. And if you wanted to, you could add your hand like this, feeling a little more ease. So the hand is this sweeping movement. The hand sort of sets the pace or the feeling for the movement. And then keep that hand gently moving. And if you take it away, see if you can keep the head moving in that same ease of movement. Easy flowing back and forth movement. And then finally circling. Circling around. So the head is, the chin is coming down in the front, but try not to drop the head back too much. And then circling the other way. And let's see. So we did. We started down at the feet. Worked our way up, and then we went out to the hands, and we worked our way in. It's a good way to remember so that you don't miss the different joints in the body. Let's bend the spine in 6 ways. So a little bit more focus on the flexibility in the spine. Resting the hands on the knees. I've moved away from the back of the chair here, so I have some space between the, I have some space to bend the spine, and I'll come a little closer and turn sideways so you can see. Keeping the hands and arms relatively straight here, and then lifting the heart forward and then back. So I'm going back and forth, back and forth. Notice how when you breathe in and the chest lifts forward, there's an opening across the chest. And then as I exhale and my heart moves back, there's a spreading like the shoulder blades are like wings spreading to the side. So inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Perhaps the chin lifts slightly and then goes back the other way. Feel this nice movement of the spine. See if you can find a balance of that ease and effort. So let go of some of the effort and see if you can find a little more ease so there's more fluidity in the spine moving. But if your spine feels really fluid, maybe you can add a little bit more effort so that we're balanced, or more balanced. Doesn't have to be exactly 50-50. But there's this moving forward and back. And so that's bending the spine forward and back. That's extension and flexion. That's 1 and 2. And then 3 and 4 is lateral extension. I'm going to start with my hands right here at the shoulders. I'm going to lean one way and then the other. Think about keeping the spine lengthened as you lean. So there's bending, but there's also lengthening at the same time. So there's a little bit of bending here and lengthening. And then you can add the arm, if that feels okay, reaching up first and then starting to bend. So reaching up, getting length in the spine, and then a little bending. Notice the bending is small to begin with. And if that feels okay, you can start to bend a little more. Notice too how we're not as stable when we're bending way over to the side. So be mindful of that. You may need to spread the feet a little further apart. You could bring the hand down to the edge of the chair for support. And I want to keep the front of the body facing forward and the face facing forward. So it's as if I had if I had a wall right in front of me and a wall right behind me, and I had a little space. The wall is about this. There's this much space between the two walls. I'm going back and forth between those two walls. Or maybe even imagine a pane of glass in front. And if you begin to lean over and you feel like you're falling over, press down more on the outside of that opposite foot. Keep it anchored. Sometimes that'll give us a little more stability. So we want the legs to feel stable even as we begin to lean. And if you lean further, you're going to find the core has to work harder. Don't lean so far that the core is overworked and you get like a little spasms in the ribs. Actually, that goes with any practice that we do. We don't want to have spasms in the muscles. That's the muscles, not, it's an involuntary reaction of the muscles to whatever it is that we're doing. And of course, we want them to be, we want all this stuff to be voluntary. We're doing it with intention in our yoga practice. And then, so that's 3 and 4. And then the last one is our turning. So let's just begin by turning with the elbows like this. And as you turn, think about sitting up a little taller. Maybe like if you ever take a cork out of a wine bottle and use a corkscrew, you have to ultimately pull on the cork to get it to come out. Well, some you don't, but if you have an old-fashioned one. And so think about you're the cork and you're pulling on the spine is getting pulled up even as there's turning from the corkscrew. So there's this lifting, almost like you're going to lift out of the chair. There's a lightness. And then let's lift the hands up to get length. Do that a couple of times. And each time you lift up, think about extending, elongating the torso and the spine and the arms to help lift and create space between the vertebra. And then do it one more time. Inhale. And this time we're going to turn to the right and let the hands float down as the spine floats up. Spine floats up, hands float down, and I come into a turn to the right side, and I rest the hands, and each time I inhale, I sit up, and when I exhale, I just relax. I don't turn anymore. This is a passive. This is giving the muscles inhaling, they're extending with the breath, inhaling. And then as I exhale, I just soften the face and eyes, soften the neck, relaxing the shoulders. So each inhalation is a lengthen and a floating up, and each exhalation is a softening. Keep the spine long though at the same time. Not as long as when you're breathing in, but keeping don't collapse. And then one last time, inhale, sit up tall, relax the shoulders, and then turn back the head. Then the shoulders turn back, and finally the waist turns back. And pause for a moment, take a breath. And let's get length again with the arms. So we inhale up, do that twice. Inhale up, get length, sit up tall, and then as you exhale, turn to the opposite side. Hand comes to the outside of the knee in the front, and the other hand comes back somewhere behind you, maybe to the other side of the chair like this, or maybe even to this side of the chair. Doesn't really matter. We just want to have something that we can hold on to as we do the passive twist, as we work with the breath. So inhaling, extending up, exhaling, softening, inhaling, extending up, exhale, soften. So remember, I'm not turning anymore. I'm using the lengthening of the spine and the breath together. And then one more breath in, inhale, lengthen, and then as you exhale, turn back the head, then the shoulders, and the belly comes around last, and then turn to the opposite side just for a moment. We'll release to that side and then come back. So the little turning helps to open the ribs and the sides of the body especially, and the back too. So sitting up tall, and let's do a little standing pose that we've been working on. Sitting up tall in this is our 5-pointed star, we call it. It works best, or it's going to probably be easier if you slide close towards the front of the chair more. And it depends on the shape of the chair too, and the seat of the chair. We want to be comfortable though, so that we can extend the spine up and sit comfortably for a couple of breaths. Of course, your other choice is to stand up. Notice how the shape is very similar. Standing up like this, 5-pointed star. And then go ahead and lower the arms down. We're going to do our triangle pose first. So extending the legs out. Actually, you have a choice. You can do legs like this with the bent knees. Notice how the hips, the knee, and the toes are pointing out at an angle. And then the other choice is with the legs extended. So your choice. And 5-pointed star, inhaling, and then exhaling, reaching out first, and then bringing the hand down. And then inhale up. So going back and forth, exhaling, reaching out, arm coming down. So please go back and forth, follow your own breath. Inhaling is up to 5-pointed star. Exhaling is reaching out and coming down to the side. And this is that we had that between the two walls earlier, the panes of glass, same kind of idea here. The legs a little bit out in front, so it's not going to be quite as straight to the side, but we want the torso to be facing straight ahead in the same direction. Exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. One more time on each side. Of course, you can always come back if you've had enough, and sometimes that happens. You do a pose and you just had enough. Come back and just pause and rest for a minute. Take a couple of breaths. Sometimes the best thing we can do for ourselves is actually a rest with a couple of breaths and sitting up nice and tall. So so we'll do that twice. And the second time we'll do it standing. Or I'll show it standing. You can do it seated again like we just did. Standing is 5-pointed star. Make sure if you're doing it standing that you have a way to keep your feet from sliding, whether it's shoes on or a mat like this. Inhaling and then exhaling to the side. So inhale up and exhale. Inhale up and exhale. So we'll go back and forth like that. If you want to make it more challenging, you can widen your stance. Makes it more challenging. Be mindful of your balance. If you have a wider stance, balance is more challenging. It's also harder to catch yourself. If you start to lose your balance and your feet are wider apart, it's harder to catch yourself. So if you want to practice, you could also use a wall behind you. Get close to the wall. Arms are down, and then if you're standing, try toe heeling like this to come back. It's kind of a fun way to get back. And let's come back and sit back down. We're going to do extended side angle. So sitting up nice and tall, this time it's almost like triangle, except the legs will be bent here. And then I'm going to inhale and exhale a couple of times. So I'm going to bring my attention inwards, feel the feet pressing into the floor, feel the spine extending up. And then the arms are out to the side, and inhale. And as I exhale, I'm going to extend one leg and reach with the arm on that side over the head and bring the opposite forearm down to the leg. And then inhale, come back up, bring the leg back. And then the other side. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, extend the leg out and reach. And then come back up. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale. And exhale. I'm going to go back and forth like that. So the inhalation is coming back to center. The exhalation is the extension of the body. Inhaling to come up, exhaling. Inhale up and exhaling. Inhale up, exhaling, and then coming back and take a couple of breaths. So you can continue to do it that way, or I will do it standing. Show you how to do it standing. It's a slightly different, we won't alternate sides standing because we'll have one leg out at a time. So we'll come to this is our 5-pointed star, and then we'll inhale, and then we'll reach out to the side. So the knee bends a little bit, and then we come back up. You could also, let's do it this way. Let's turn the one foot in and turn the other foot out. So this is only if you're standing. If you're doing it seated, you'll go back and forth just like before. And then we extend the arms, and then we can reach out like this. And then inhale. So notice the shape is still the same with the leg extended and the arm extended, and the forearm is starting to rest on the thigh on this side. So there's a little bend in the knee, and then come back up, and let's do the other side. Come back to a neutral position. This is our 5-pointed star, and then we'll turn that front foot. So the toes are actually pointing directly to the side, and the knee is pointing directly to the side. So it's important that the leg actually turn out so that it's pointing this way. So when I bend the knee is bending in a line with the hip and the toes. So 5-pointed star, and the back foot turns in slightly. And so it looks like that. Inhale up and exhale. Inhale up and exhale one more time. And inhale up. Turning the feet back if you're standing, lowering the arms down. And then you can toe heel back. So you'll probably find that standing poses they're challenging. They're more challenging by nature because not only are you using the legs and the core and the torso, because you've got to support yourself, you're standing. Usually you're also using the arms. So you're using more of the body, more muscles in the body. So it tends to be more strenuous. So taking a few breaths, maybe even closing the eyes, perhaps even sliding it into the back of the chair and resting for a few breaths. You can always rest. Just like we do Shavasana at the end of class, it's a really important, the reason for that is to give the body a chance to get back to normal, to get back to a relaxed state. I mean, that's what we want. We want where we teach our body to do the things it needs to do, that we want it to do, the movements or whatever it is, and then we want it to stay relaxed. Our nervous system does not do well. It's like if you drink a lot of coffee, if you drink coffee all day, your nervous system is all wound up all day. You're buzzed all day. And that's not ideal. And sitting up nice and tall. Now let's do a few sun breaths. Inhale and circle the arms around. It's just to keep things loose here. Inhaling, circling the arms, and then coming back, doing the other way. Now next, we're going to do eagle arms. So this is good for the shoulders. And remember, if you have trouble intertwining like this, grab yourself a strap or really anything, a piece of cloth, something that's, longish, and you can hold it, and it's a way to hold on like this. I'll have it handy. I'll demonstrate it in a moment. So sitting up tall. And so for eagle pose, we're going to do crossing the right, excuse me, the right over the left, either the ankle or the knee like this. Some people can actually wind this foot around the back of the calf. You can do that. And if you know how to do this standing and you'd like to do it, you're certainly free to do that. But I won't teach it that way. So it's right over left, and then it's the left arm over the right arm. So we start by making that X shape with the elbow over the elbow, and then the V shape. V is for victory, and then intertwining the hands, keeping the shoulders relaxed, keeping the shoulders relaxed. The spine is extending slightly up, or it's a gentleness of the extension, but keeping the shoulders relaxed. If you want to make it more challenging, you can inhale, lift the elbows up and out, but no higher than the shoulders. Keeping the spine lifted up. And we pause here for just a few breaths. So this is a passive. Once we get in the position, just like we did the twist earlier, it's passive. We just use the breath here and relax when we exhale. And then to come out, do it with control. Keep the hands moving slowly, unwind the arms slowly, come back to that V shape, come back to the X shape, uncross the arms, uncross the legs. So with control, and let's do the other side. So you got the ankle or the knee, or you don't have to cross the legs at all if you don't want to. And this time it's left over right, and that'll be the right over left. So crossing elbow is in elbow, X shape, and then V shape, and then intertwining. And this one for me is hard on that side, so I'll do it with a strap. So this is it helps to do it step by step. So if you come out, try and remember step by step on the way back. X shape and V shape, and then intertwining. And intertwining, holding the strap like this. So inhaling, sitting up tall, exhaling, relaxing the shoulders. See if you can relax a little bit in this pose, even though we're kind of wound up. relaxing. Remember, when you come out, do it with control. And so let's all begin to come out. We'll release the hands, come back to the V, lower the arms down to the X, uncross slowly, uncross the legs, and come back to our Shavasana, or our mountain pose. We're not in Shavasana yet, almost. And sitting up tall, and a few cactus breaths to open the heart here. So this is a little counter for that. So when we do the eagle pose, the shoulder blades spread wide apart. And this is going to help the shoulder blades. Now they're going to start to come back together, and the chest is going to open. So this is kind of the opposite of eagle. This is nice because it helps to bring flexibility or mobility to the thoracic spine, to where the shoulder blades and the spine meet behind us. Inhaling, exhaling. And one more time. And then bring the palms together, some sun breaths. So lifting the heart up, circling the hands around. Lifting the heart up, circling the hands around. And then whenever you're ready, you can settle into your chair. Or if you're laying on the floor, you can lay down on the floor. So make sure you feel supported underneath you. Underneath the feet, the back against the back of the chair. We want to feel like the earth is supporting us. So we can begin to let go a little bit, relaxing a little bit. Find a spot for the hands, wherever is most comfortable. Could be the knees or the lap. Or if you have arms on your chair, you might even like the hands there. Sitting up tall, relaxing the shoulders. Feeling the breath moving underneath the ribs, feeling the belly moving in and out. As we exhale, we allow the body to soften. So the first few breaths that we do in Shavasana, we can think a little bit about extending the spine up gently with just a little effort. And then we let go of that effort and focus on relaxing the body. So each time we exhale, we allow the body to soften. So we spend our time focusing on the exhalation part of the breath. So this will end the formal part of our class. Please, if you have a few moments, stay in Shavasana a little bit longer. If even 5 minutes is great. Just focusing on the breath, relaxing, and giving the body a chance to integrate the practice that we've been doing for about an hour. So it's a nice way to continue your day. Have a little break. Instead of tea time, it's Shavasana time. So I hope everyone has a great, happy holidays, and see everyone next time. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work today.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Once again, this is Batya Blumenthal, Branch Supervisor of the Putterham Library. Just a quick announcement. We will not be having gentle chair yoga next week on December 24th because of the holiday break. Thank you. Namaste, everybody.
Namaste. Thank you.